Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Beer and Money. My name is Ryan Burklo.
And I'm Alex Collins.
And on today's episode, we're going to be talking about how to organize and prioritize when it comes to your financial plan.
Everyone's favorite topics, right?
Right? Because here's the thing. Uh, Alex, you and I, we see this all the time where we have clients that come up to us. They make really good money, $500,000, $600,000 a year. They've got assets, right? But they literally tell us, they go, Ryan, Alex, we know we've got money, but we're just not sure. Like, we want to make sure where everything is, and we're not exactly sure how this really comes together. Like, what does this really look like? Are we doing the right things? We just feel like we've got a bunch of money in different places, and that's it.
Well, and they are absolutely dreading this conversation because they are terrified that they are behind or lacking something or never going to be able to retire. Like most of them are like, yeah, I'd rather go to the dentist.
Yeah.
Like for the root canal that I know that I'm going to need, as opposed to like having this conversation.
Yeah, which is interesting, right? Because they're not necessarily struggling financially. It's not like they're, struggling to pay their bills or struggling to, it's not a struggle financially from the standpoint of living life. It's more of they don't want to know that they're doing, like, maybe they're not on track type of, it's a fear of what they don't know.
It's the ostrich approach, right? It's the, I want to bury my head in the sand.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to hear like what I have to do or that I'm never going to be able to retire, things of that nature. And like, I mean, oh my God, there's, someone that we were able to like last week, they were like, I don't know if I will be able to retire. I need to have a conversation. I want to know when I can retire. And like within the first 15 minutes of you and I talking with them, we were like, yeah, you can retire tomorrow.
Yeah.
And like, they broke down crying because they were so happy to hear that. And like, you and I were like, yeah, this is not a question.
Right. Exactly. And so what's the problem here, Alex? The problem is, frankly, there are a lot of options, right? Our industry does a great job of overcomplicating maybe simple things. There's the priority level, right? Like the clear priority of, well, where should my money go first? Right. And then you've got the trying to do everything all at once, which that always is, I think, a big thing. Like, I think a lot of people, they're like, okay, we got to get organized. They sit down and they do it all once and they get organized in that moment, but they don't put any kind of plan in place. And literally 2 weeks later, like, they're back to where they were.
Well, it's like the Tasmanian devil came in and like spun everything around and like threw everything to the corners. And like, it's like, yeah, there was no system put in place to like automate things or to like help people like understand the why behind what they were doing. They just like did the what.
Yep. And then last and not least, it's always what they think is a priority. Okay. So they put money there. A couple months later, what they think is a priority. Okay. They put money here. And they end up with this financial junk drawer of, like we started this episode with, of money in different buckets, but not really knowing how in the world does this come together.
100%. And like, it's the other thing is our industry does a really, really good job of talking about things in silos. And the silos don't affect each other, which is idiotic and garbage. Because everything that we do affects something else. Like 100% of the time, if nothing else, that like the money that we put in that silo is money that we didn't put in a different silo. So like by its like the base underlying assumption is incorrect. And the fact that we have this silo over here is going to affect all of the other silos. So that is just, it's a truly faulty way of doing planning. And the industry has not figured that out yet. They will eventually.
Hopefully. So here's the framework or the priority stack for our tech professionals out there, right? We've got, number one, we've got to protect our income, right? The income coming in the door, that's where we're making all the decisions. How much should we spend? Where money should go for retirement planning versus investments versus protection versus paying down debt, right? Versus college. Like, That's where everything is made, the decisions are coming from, and the money coming in the door is what allows us to do that.
If money stops coming in the door, none of the planning that we did matters anymore because it's now going to all of the today issues. So we have to solve that first.
Yeah. So we got to start there. Protect the income, protect that downside first. That's always going to be step one. It's not the fun part of any financial plan. Like, frankly, I think Alex and I really don't like it either. But we also know that it's typically the one step that most people gloss over because in the back of their mind, they're thinking that they're fine when they haven't really looked at their protection from the standpoint of how much of my income is protected,
Like
right?
they either do one of two things, Ryan. Either the financial professional like glosses over it, or it's their sole focus. And the only thing that they
Yeah. And
do
that's
is
all they
this.
talk about. Exactly. So that's part one. The step two, or part two of this framework, is organizing your cash flow. The money that's coming in the door, where should it be going? And where should it be going from the standpoint of obviously growing wealth, but what are the taxes involved on that? And what risk profile do you want to have on the entire balance sheet?
Well, and it's the let's study it. Let's run some experiments. Let's try and figure out why we want to put dollars where. We've got one more dollar. What's the best use of that dollar? We've got an extra $100. What's the best use or the split use of those dollars? Like this isn't a well, it always goes here. This is a we've got a dollar. Let's study where it could go and then make the best decision possible. I mean, some of the ideas like lighting it on fire, we can just throw that out right away because like that's never going to be the best idea, despite the fact that some people tend to do that.
Yeah. And, it comes down to, I think a lot of people have this linear planning frame of mind, not understanding that that's not real life, right? You don't just put a dollar in a bucket and it grows by 8% every year and magically you get to retirement. Like that's just not how life works. And what's sad about that is we've seen enough advisors that actually that's actually how they plan. And this isn't us demeaning those advisors. It's just what they're taught us, what they do. And in a linear spreadsheet, yeah, the math works out, but we both have lived either through ourselves or vicariously through our clients that linear planning doesn't work.
What and let's take that one step further. It doesn't work in any aspect of our life.
Yeah.
It doesn't work in our diet. It doesn't work in our exercise. It doesn't work in our child's growth and maturity. It doesn't work in the own maturity of our own relationships. Like nothing in life is linear except time. Like nothing else is linear. If it is a coincidence and only for a short period of time. Everything
And that's
else,
even relative. Like if you want to look up Albert Einstein, like he'd argue you're wrong in that statement, actually.
right? It gets warped around black holes and things of that nature. There's been a few movies that like show that time is relative, but like for anybody living on Earth, not cryogenically frozen, it's pretty much linear.
So organized, right? We have to make sure we're planning appropriately, which kind of takes us to step three of this framework, which is clarifying their short term, medium term, and long term priorities. This is where, when we're coming into planning, not every person wants the same thing. Like in general, they all want to retire on some level, but maybe one person wants a vacation property. Maybe one person wants to work their tail off for 10 years and just be done. Maybe another person doesn't want to do that and they just want to make sure they maximize their health. And maybe they never retire. So they spend a little bit more money during their lifetime while still saving for the future, but not in the same capacity as like the fire movement, right? So
Or maybe
again,
somebody wants to slowly fade into retirement where they go to part-time and then they cut back on their hour. Like there are so many different methodologies for accomplishing this, and everyone's circumstance and situation are a little bit different and unique. So you need a plan that is crafted for you. And oh my God, it is amazing how many times like we ask the question, so like, what is short-term, medium-term, and long-term priorities for you? And we just get deer in headlight back. And it's like we then have to like almost draw it out of them. But like once we do that, it's amazing how much clearer the motivation is to accomplish these things. And like you can see the light bulb come on over their head which is just an awesome moment for us, or at least for me.
And the funny part about that is I think they know it deep down. They can't articulate it because they never took the time to stop and think about it because they're lost in the sauce of life, right?
Yeah.
Like you and I were just talking about prior to this. You're like, "Hey, can I swing by and pick up the cards?" And I was like, "Well, I don't know because Diane and I are playing rotation shift and what's going on." Right? As soon as you think about something, you move on and like life happens and you don't come back to it.
Squirrel.
So, yeah, exactly. So it's really hard to sit down with your spouse and say, "Hey, what is it we want in the next 12 months? What is it we want in the next 3 or 5 years?" Like that's a huge part, I think, of value add that when you work with a true financial planner, it really helps solidify a couple's like goals, priorities, and purpose.
Well, and then that leads perfectly into the next step, which is once you have made that decision, automate it so you don't have to make it again. The worst thing that you could possibly do is not automate it because then you have to proactively, intentionally make that decision again and again and again and again. And it's only a matter of time before that decision breaks. So
Well,
automate
it's not
everything
even
that
the
you can.
decision breaks. The decision's there. It's more of the action of doing it if it's not automated.
Squirrel.
Exactly. Uh, As you say that, I'm seeing your face in a squirrel. Like I'm literally saying,
I just think of the dog Doug from Up.
yes, exactly. So we got to automate it, right? Which takes us to step 5. And this is also key. A financial plan literally will change hundreds of times, probably, right? You want to review it. And we talk to our clients on a quarterly basis just to check in, but you definitely want to review it annually,
Yeah.
right? As things change, either income bumps or maybe income goes down because you've hit a certain, right? Like who knows what
Well,
income has changed
I mean,
to.
even just think about it from the standpoint of like, okay, think about yourself 5 years ago.
Mhm.
Like, okay, we're in the middle of the pandemic, and like, what did you think? Did you think that you were going to be here doing this now today? Like, if you are, you're like one of the maybe 2%. But like everybody, like life changes and it's amazing how much it changes. That's why we have to course correct. And we don't want to have to like course correct from going from like, hey, we were flying to Seattle and now we're flying to Oslo. We want to like course correct where like, hey, we were flying to Seattle and now we're on target for Portland. Let's fix that.
Yep. So just a real quick review of the 5 steps in this priority stack is protect your income and the downsides first. Organize your cash flow. Number 3, make sure you set clear and clarify short, medium, and long-term priorities. 4, automate. And 5, review and reset at least annually.
Yeah.
So if that's the framework, what are the common mistakes as people are doing their framework, Alex, right? Like number 1 is, and this is the hardest thing I think for even you and I oftentimes is the constant moving target,
It's hard to kick a field goal when the goalpost is moving.
right? And so I think when you have a conversation more of like values and what you want life to live, what life you want to live, I think that does help. I wouldn't say solidify the field goal post like never moving, but at least it slows it down enough.
What, like, so you want to continue to play football as opposed to like changing to playing baseball.
Sure. Yeah.
Like, you want
Yeah.
to continue to try and hit the field goal as opposed to now we're trying to hit a home run.
Yep.
Like those are different things, and like one's a foot, one's a more hands. Like it's night and day different, and so many people like choose to do one thing and then like massively shift and are now going in a totally different direction. That's not going to be helpful.
And, speaking of home run, like a lot of people, like they're overexposed without that protection piece. We're not even talking just insurance. It might just be where your assets are. Maybe you've got an over concentration in a particular stock, for example, right? Like they're going for that home run while not setting up their balance sheet to withstand if that home run gets robbed.
Yeah.
Like we're really into big sports analogies right now. We're crushing it, by the way.
Shocker.
Shocker. Right. So overexposure, make sure that's another common mistake, and then the doing too many things halfway.
Squirrel.
Shock, right? Like, it's so easy to be like, okay, I need to do this. Okay, well, whoa, something over here. Let me move that pawn. Like if you're playing chess, you're moving your different pieces without even looking at like, where is it you want to take this?
Is my defense set up? Are my pieces supported? Like, what am I actually trying to do? You're just reacting to things as opposed to like creating a game plan.
Yep. And then optimization, like we hear that word from a lot. We even use that word, which we need to stop using, I think, on many levels, because optimize is often done without any kind of clarity. And what's your definition of optimization? We could start there.
I would argue that you can't optimize without clarity.
Yeah. Well, and many people do.
They're optimizing for the wrong thing.
Right.
Like you and I just read a book where like you're trying to optimize something that shouldn't even exist. Like, oh my God, that is complete waste of time, energy, effort, and resources. Don't do that.
Yeah. A question that came from that book, and we've actually heard it from a mentor of ours, where like when you're looking at what it is you're wanting to build, ask yourself the question, what would have to be true?
Hmm.
Right? Like, what would have to be true for me to have that life? Like, what would I need? Or if I had that life, what would have to be true? And all of a sudden you realize, oh, well, that will never be true. So I don't want that life. Like you start to recognize different things that you're building towards or against and not even know.
Well, and like it's not even things that you're conscious of. Like, oh, well, for that to be true, I would have to be a celebrity, and I don't want to be famous. Like, oh, okay, well then, like, let's not do that. Like, let's reframe it and figure out what we actually want.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, and it was just an idea and something that popped into my head.
Love
You
it.
know, shocker, squirrel.
So the theme of the day, the takeaway is don't be a squirrel or don't chase the squirrel. No, in all simplicity here, right? Like having the framework to organize and prioritize yourself is huge. It helps you sleep better at night. It helps you be more present with your family, right? It helps you probably be a better either employee or a better business owner,
Gives
right?
you clarity.
The clarity is huge, which is so corny for people like Alex and I to say, because I think a lot of our people in our industry say it without actually designing a plan
To create
towards,
it.
well, create it from the standpoint of what does the client mean by clarity, right? Really grasping that, which is huge, right? It's hard to trust an advisor that says that line and actually doesn't even know what you want, right? So, like a big thing that Alex and I are building and we want to build with our clients is helping you all, and Alex and I are doing the same thing, design a future so powerful that it reshapes your present.
Yeah.
So, on that note, we hope this episode was valuable for you. Make sure you head over to beerandmoney.net. And at the top of the page, you can reach out to us with any questions or any suggestions that you might have for us. As well as in the show notes, you're going to have the ability to do your own financial scorecard, right? We started this episode talking about being nervous about getting maybe your scorecard. So this is a way for you to do it on your own. Alex and I don't see it. You can get it at a high level and kind of get a
It's
high level look at what you look like financially.
it's a good way to get a sneak peek without exposing your stuff to anybody else.
Exactly. So we hope this episode is valuable for you. And as always, Mr. Collins,
Cheers.
This podcast is for informational purposes only and is not to be construed as tax, legal, or investment advice. Although the information has been gathered from sources believed to be reliable, please note that individual situations can vary. Therefore, the information should be relied upon only when coordinated with individual professional advice. Guest speakers and their firms are not affiliated with or endorsed by Park Avenue Securities, Guardian, or Quantified Financial Partners, and opinions stated are their own. Guardian, its subsidiaries, agents, and employees do not provide tax, legal, or accounting advice. Consult your tax, legal, or accounting professional regarding your individual situation. All investments and investment strategies contain risk and may lose value. This material is intended for general public use. By providing this content, Park Avenue Securities LLC is not undertaking to provide investment advice or a recommendation for any specific individual or situation, or to otherwise act in a fiduciary capacity. Please contact a financial representative for guidance and information that is specific to your individual situation. Ryan and Alex are registered representatives and financial advisors of Park Avenue Securities LLC, OSJ 200 Market Street, Suite 1850, Portland, Oregon 97201. Phone number 503-221-1226. Securities products and advisory services offered through Park Avenue Securities, member FINRA, SIPC. Financial representatives of the Guardian Life Insurance Company of America, Guardian, New York, New York. Park Avenue Securities is a wholly owned subsidiary of Guardian. Quantified Financial Partners is not an affiliate or subsidiary of Park Avenue Securities or Guardian. Ryan Burklo, CA Insurance License Number 0K24924. Alexander Collins, CA Insurance License Number 0H24806.
8638242.1, expiration date November 2027.